Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Rudy London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho 4. May the victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and may the correct justice be served. 1100 Kings Road. That was where the 911 call was actually made from. This was on the 13th of November, 11:58, 2 minutes to noon. Why haven't they mentioned that? It is mentioned in the police logs that the call was made from here. It was made for an unconscious person. And this will come up in trial unless they change the police log itself, which would be illegal. So did the surviving roommates run down the road to 1100 Kings Road to call for help? But how would they know that somebody's unconscious unless they went inside Zana and Ethan's room or inside Kaylee and Maddie's room? It's hard to believe that they heard rummaging upstairs that night. They saw a man with a black balaclava, a ski mask, with bushy eyebrows. They heard a man saying, "I'm here to help you." DM said she thought she heard someone that sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog. So why wouldn't the surviving roommates understand that something's not right in the house? BF told DM that she thought Xana was wearing a black clothing. 2:10 in the 911 transcript is when DM is calling Eric, the private share driver. Are they trying to tell us that they heard all the noises, all the movements, and yet again they didn't bother to check what was going on? Don't even check. Lock your doors and call 911. That's the right thing to do. Unless the surviving roommates were told to keep quiet and they were threatened, or unless they were involved themselves. Why did it take over 2 years for the 911 calls to be released? Now we know that the surviving roommates were texting each other. They were texting friends, families, parents. They were on Instagram. They were on Snapchat, TikTok, Yik Yak app, which is a bullying app. But you can send photos, images, and everything in a 5-mile range. Coincidentally, DM was using the Indeed app, and that is to search for a job. It's an app that helps you to create your CVs. After they heard all the things in the house, are they trying to say that they believed nothing happened? They called Kaylee, no answer. Maddie called them. She called one of the surviving roommates at exactly 2:53. That is 1 minute after Maddie and Kaylee made the calls to Jack D. Quite interesting. 2:53. 2:55 is when you hear a female yelling, "Stop it! Stop!" It's on the police body cam at Banfield. 3:12, figures are running. 2:53, the Banfield boys are stopped. And they kept on walking in the dark field. What did they throw? What were they carrying? Did Said come to distract the police? The important thing is that the call was made from 1100 Kings Road. DM, BF, Xana, and Ethan were all freshmen. They all were in the age of 20. Let's not forget Xana asked the father to come down to help her to fix her locks. This was literally a week before the horrific crimes happened. Could DM, BF, Xana, and Ethan have had some kind of issues? This is 1100 Kings Road. Hunter and Emily are allegedly the two people who were present when the 911 call was made. So I believe DM and BF must have run down to 1100 Kings Road to call Hunter and Emily. Why didn't they just call 911? This is a very important picture I came across. May Xana rest in peace. Pay attention to 1100 Kings Road. It's the blue house behind Xana. And pay attention to the white Hyundai Elantra you see parked there. What is interesting is not only that it's a white Hyundai Elantra, it's interesting that it has tinted windows. And that is what the gas station showed us. The car that passed by there had tinted windows. It looked like there were at least two people inside the car. Brian Christopher Koberger is white Hyundai Elantra, which is 2015 model, doesn't have tinted windows. Wonder whose car is that? Could that be the car Jack D was driving? Could that be the car that was used in these crimes? Just a question. This is the car when you zoom in. I wonder where this car was that night. It's quite strange that it's parked in front of 1100 Kings Road. The call came from that area. The area where the 4 University of Idaho students were unalived was known to be a party spot. Taxi driver says that's where people go to get drugs. Quite interesting. Where was Kaylee's dog, Murphy? Let's remember what DM said in her affidavit. She said that she heard Kaylee playing with the dog. So Kaylee was inside her room. Most likely. She wouldn't disturb Maddie and take Murphy to Maddie's room. Plus, DM said that she heard Kaylee playing with the dog at her room, I would believe. DM knows where all the rooms are located. Could it be possible that Kaylee heard something? She must have heard Maddie yelling, "Stop it, stop!" And she ran to save a friend or to check what was happening. And unfortunately, she was unalive too. Was Murphy taken outside the house? Possibly by Jack D., Adam, by anyone? And was he brought later on and put in Kaylee's room? I wonder what DNA could have been found on Murphy. Did they check him properly? Or did the surviving roommates take Murphy and lock him in Kaylee's room? We did hear a dog barking in Linda Lane. Was this the black truck we saw at Banfield? We saw the lights flashing from up the hill. It looked like it was from 1122 Kings Road. And we saw the black truck passing by Taylor Avenue at 3:01. DM texted Eric, the private share driver. If she had a truck or a car, I would assume that she didn't want to draw attention. So she ordered a private share driver. How much do we know about Eric, the private share driver? Because this is important. He plays a big role. Eric drove Kaylee and Maddie home. He dropped them off from the grub truck to 1122 Kings Road. That was at 11:56. And then 16 minutes later, DM texts him and asks him if he's driving. What was going on? I consider this as kind of evidence. Bethany Funk was selling. She was the one selling rugs in the house, allegedly. Just pay attention to her Venmos. Was it Emma Bailey who was providing DM whatever she was selling, the rug she was selling? Because we did see Emma Bailey at 1122 Kings Road. And she was involved in a case where a young 19-year-old boy OD'd. Both her and Demetrius. Actually, all the things, or some of the things that WSU Kim said and Dot said, I'm starting to agree with. Remember, Dot said that she heard there was a shakedown. Kim said there was a shakedown for rugs. That Maddie flushed away or threw away rugs worth $75,000. And now we're seeing BF and her actions, her activities in her Venmos. She was clearly selling something. Could it be possible that Maddie got upset and she told Kaylee, and Kaylee told Adam that they were going to report this? Could that be possible? 11:58 a.m. A call was made to 911 on the 13th of November. Pay attention, 1100 Kings Road. It was for an unconscious person. So did the surviving roommates run down to 1100 Kings Road and dial 911? Or did someone dial 911 for them? It is written in the police logs. And if that is true, because we don't know anymore what's true, but that's written on the police logs. So if that is true, how did the surviving roommates know that there was an unconscious person? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't sit right with me. Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan would have been covered with red liquid. Red liquid was leaking out from the outside of the house, from Xana's room. May the rest in peace. So how could they just say it was an unconscious person? They heard all the noise in the house. They heard rummaging out upstairs, and they thought it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. The chief doesn't consider them as witnesses. Isn't that strange? He said the surviving roommates were just there. So this is 1100 Kings Road. I wonder if this was the place where Hunter and Emily lived. That is 1100 Kings Road, the blue house behind Xana. Please pay attention to the white car. Could it be Hunter's car or Jack D's car? Who parked the car there? And whose car is it? I wonder where that car was that night. It does look like a Hyundai Elantra. It could be a totally different car, but it's a white car with tinted windows. Is this just another coincidence? I doubt. The timelines don't make sense. Koberger couldn't have been there at 2:10. The police said he left his house at 2:45 or 2:52. He was in Washington Pullman. I just believe they're trying to force Koberger into this timelines. The surviving roommates have a lot of answering to do. Why didn't they call 911? Why were they texting each other? Why were they on Instagram? What photos was BF taking? Was she sending those photos on Yik Yak and apps like Snapchat, Instagram? If the front door was wide open, didn't BF feel cold? It was a cold night. Was DM and BF sending these pictures around on Yik Yak, Snapchat, Instagram? Why was Bethany Funk taking pictures? Could this be the exculpatory evidence? Or could it be possible that BF was selling rugs to BK? He's had addiction before. That wouldn't be far-fetched. Just a thought. Maybe Brian Koberger knows Bethany Funk. And he wants her to give the correct statements that she was his dealer, his fixer. Maybe they decided to frame him. Pay attention to the person in the white mask. That could easily be Showalter because he had on a white hoodie. What is Saeed watching? Although these pictures are blurry, there is something with these pictures. There's somebody with a cap and a red jumper. You can see two figures. These are not pictures I made up. These are Saeed's pictures on his phone device. Was the surviving roommate sending him this? Or were they paying to watch these crimes? I know it sounds really horrible, but why were these people sending Venmos to each other exactly at 3:30? Was that when everyone was unalived? So the surviving roommates, DM and BF, are trying to tell us that they did not know 4 people were unalived in the house. If they weren't texting each other and sending pictures or photos, if DM did not call the share ride, and if they called 911 immediately, I would have believed them. But it's hard for me to believe them. I still believe Ethan and Xana were unalived first. I've always said that from day one. I always knew that they changed the timelines of Ethan and Xana because the frats were involved. Just my opinion. Ethan and Xana was unalived between 2 to 2:25. That's what I believe. Kaylee and Maddie were unalived later. And I really do believe that Maddie made her last call at 2:53 to DM or BF, whichever one of them who's written in the 911 transcript. I think Maddie Morgan called BF. I wonder if BF picked up. They heard the rummaging upstairs, but they ignored it. Let me know what you'll think. Peace be upon these 4 beautiful souls. May the correct justice be served. The correct justice. I'm not saying BK is innocent. I'm not saying BK is guilty. But I'm saying I believe there are more suspects out there. And I just want to know why the surviving roommates took 9 hours to call. Please like, share, and subscribe.